Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Thank you all for coming today. We are continuing our discussion on the 14th word. It's on page 177. We started discussing this word last week when we explained how some verses in the Quran presented let's say challenges, or people when they approached these particular verses, they were confused on, well, how should we approach them or how to believe in them, since they're not to be read literally. I want us to remember how the word opens up, like the word starts out with this particular verse, and I'll read it out loud for us. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Alif Lam Ra. This is a book with verses fundamental of established meaning, further explained in detail from one all-wise and well acquainted with all things. This is from chapter 11, verse 1. And basically, this word goes through different verses and explaining how to understand these specific verses. And as I already explained, these verses were not understood properly because of how because they were taken literally. Enough, I think, with the introduction. But we will start from the second word right here, from the second point, sorry. So the second, for example, the verses, nor anything fresh or dry, but is inscribed in a record clear. And of all things have we taken account in a clear book, from whom is not hidden the least little atom in the heavens or earth, nor is there anything less than that, or greater, but it is in the record clear. These are three different verses. I will repeat them again. Nor anything fresh or dry, but is inscribed in a record clear. And of all things have we taken account in a clear book, from whom is not hidden the least little atom in the heavens or on earth, nor is there anything less than that, or greater, but it is in the record clear. So the first verse was from chapter 6, verse 59. The second verse is chapter 36, verse 12. And the third verse is chapter 34, verse number 3. I think before we read the commentary from the author, I'm wondering, now these verses are basically pointing to the idea that everything is recorded, whether it's small, whether it's dry, whether it's fresh. But everything is generally, recorded in a clear book. Now, when I read these verses the second time, I was like, why, or what would it mean if it is recorded or not? Why would this actually matter? The fact that it is recorded. These verses are written by the author of the Quran, and the author of the Quran is saying or claiming that, okay, I am the creator of the universe, and then explaining that everything is recorded. Now, as someone receiving these verses, receiving these messages, why would I care if it's recorded or not? I'm wondering, like, if I can prove somehow that it is recorded, what would that mean to me? And if I can prove somehow that it's not recorded, how will this affect me? Go ahead, Fariha.
So my question, thank you, Radwa, for the introduction. So my question is, what is being recorded, first of all? That's what I'm wondering about.
Thank you. That's a very fair question to ask. Thank you. Okay, any other questions so that when we're reading the commentary, we can actually find something we're looking for?
I would simply understand, if you don't mind, I just jumped in without asking the permission.
Go ahead. It's okay.
I would simply say that it is known. Recorded means it is known as far as the, not the Imam Mubin is a different matter. We will discuss on it. But Kitab Mubin, Imam Mubin, we have to discuss on them. And also Quran. When you read it, literally, as you said, it is understood, mentioned in the Quran. You will find it there, whatever, as you said, minute or great, giant, whatever, they are in the Quran mentioned. But when it comes to the clear book and the written record clear, it is Kitab Mubin in the, we have to somehow get familiar with the technical words that use or special terminology used in the Quran. We should, after reading the author's interpretation, we can go back and talk about them. But clear book and in the record clear must be understood, known by its author or its creator. For example, if I say, I know it is pointing to my head, it is recorded here, it is recorded here. It means I remember it is in my knowledge. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Are you saying that recorded would mean it's in my knowledge?
And as far as the terminologies are concerned, Imam Mubin, Kitab Mubin, these are the original Quranic terminology. Clear book, whatever it is, or a record clear as translated here. As far as these words are concerned, that means they are known before they exist by their creator. And also, we will discuss these terminologies, but if you read these verses by their literal translations, then people may understand that everything is mentioned in the Quran, because the book is the Quran. They take it for granted without paying attention to the details of the meaning of Mubin and Imam, Mubin, these words, the differences, and the book. What are the differences between them? Of course, the straightaway translations cannot really give detailed explanation. If someone wonders what they mean, they should study the commentaries on it by those people who are specialized in studying the Quranic terminologies, concepts. Otherwise, they are all misunderstood, and sometimes they turn it into a laughing stock, saying that everything is mentioned in the Quran, but computers are not mentioned. For example, simple-minded, and I am sorry to say that, but uneducated, ignorant people's claim. But if we are not careful, we may fall into the traps of their claims. I say, the Quran says everything is mentioned, but really nothing of the century, 21st century that we are experiencing is mentioned in it. This is why the Quran, the author wants to deal as tackling or studying these verses, because he will say, look, the Quran is not that book that you can read as a simple book written by a man or a person, so that he will speak in terms of his time and space conditions or limitations. But we will discuss this after reading what the author will say on these verses as his commentaries, and we will come back and heavily, extensively study these terminologies, Quranic terminologies mentioned here, Kitab Mubin, Imam Mubin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have something in the chat box. So simple example is architecture, knows, and so that able to draw, then building is constructed. Okay, so the architect draws the drawing and then the building is constructed. Just an example to get closer to meaning, can't be 100% applicable from all perspective. Thank you. Fariha, did I see your hand up again or no?
Yeah, I did, but alhamdulillah, the question got answered in terms of Agabe's analogy shared here also helped out pretty much, because we said that it's in his knowledge. I'm like, what are we talking about? Whose knowledge? So pretty much like the one who's creating me, who's creating you, who's creating the whole universe must have a blueprint of it. So the architect of the universe has full knowledge of things. Must have, but then just knowing this would make me feel at ease, because I was wondering, I want to know like what's up, what's coming next, and so on. So I can feel more at ease. But I guess perhaps just knowing that there's a one who's setting up the stage for us is enough. I was just contemplating on that for now. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we have enough curiosity to go in to read the author's interpretation of the verse. So he says, in order to be convinced of the elevated truth, which these verses state, that all things together, with all their states, are recorded before they come into existence. So all things together, with all their states, are recorded before they come into existence. When they come into existence, and after they have departed. And they are being recorded. We point out to be observed the all-glorious inscribers, including and preserving in immaterial fashion, in the seeds and roots of the innumerable, well-ordered creatures, which he changes every season on the page of the earth, and particularly in the spring, the indexes of their beings, life histories, and principles according to which they act. And when they die, his inscribing in immaterial fashion, with the same pen of divine determining, those indexes, life histories, and principles in the simple seeds in their fruits, and every passing spring, even his preserving them, whether fresh or dry, in perfect order, in seeds like dry chips of wood and bones, limited and tiny. It is as if each spring is attached like a flower to the face of the earth. In extremely orderly and balanced fashion by the hand of one all beautiful and all glorious, then plucked from it. Each is placed on it, then removed. While the reality is this, one of the strangest forms of man's misguidance is that he calls this natural writing, this inscribing full of art, this passive pattern of wisdom, which is an index of dominical art, and only a reflection and manifestation of the preserved tablet, nature, and considers it to be the source and active and effective. Can there be any comparison between the ground and the Pleiades? Can there be any comparison between reality and the views of the heedless? That was a lot. That was a lot in the sense of how the author is sort of laying two options or two scenarios. Either you actually see things I don't know if it's to see things or maybe picture things as they're coming into existence, that they're actually recorded. And as if the way to understand the verse is, well, you know, everything that is happening was already planned out, and everything as it is happening, there was a plan for it too. And while it's happening, every single phase or state has already been planned out for. And then as everything is ending, or as it's seeming to be ending, it's also planned for. So you can either picture that things are happening with a plan, on purpose, carefully studied, carefully measured, and then carefully executed. You can either see that there's something, or a conscious will, that's moving things in a particular way, and not only moving them, but also giving it the capacity to move, and knowing exactly what the movement of things is, or like how things are happening, and knowing that even when its state is changing, it's changing with a complete, with full knowledge. So it's either I choose to see or picture things are happening this way, or I simply say, well, this is how it evolves, or this is how, or these are the laws of nature. In other words, I completely take away from what is happening and saying, sorry, completely taking away from what is happening. It's consciousness, basically. Go ahead, Brother Ed.
First of all, the purpose of the Quran. It means the purpose of why the creator of the universe speaks to me. Do I need anything for explanation? So if I need, the one who created me and this need for explanation must answer and explain what I have as questions as I wonder within my capacity. Again, this capacity is created by him. So we have many concerns as human beings, of course, not only bodily beings. These concerns ask questions, reason about existence, the purpose in existence, and our existence, in our existence as well. And we say, what is it? Why are we here? You know, how come we exist in this world, and how come that I reason, I inquire the purpose in my existence, the meaning in my existence? Where did I come from? Why? Of course, I can see that my body is somehow related to material beings in this world, but I, as a human being, can easily understand that the way the things are coming into existence demonstrates that matter cannot really design and create, give existence to itself, neither can they create and give existence to any being, including myself. And also I have some human qualities which has nothing to do with the material substances. What are they meaning? So the Quran it needs, as my creator should explain, I need it, that it should explain to me if I can, within my own capacity, confirm it, I will understand that my creator is answering to my questions. This is essential to pay attention to, that the one who created me with the ability to questions must answer these questions. The purpose of existence of the ability to question requires an answer. If I can find the answer, why do I exist in this world, then I am satisfied. But human beings cannot know why are we here. What some people say they can, but they describe the things in terms of body only, saying that here we are, we want to enjoy our being here and benefit from the world and die and go forever. But my feelings say, no, I want perfect satisfaction. That is what I am for. So my intelligence forces me, and then we should read the Quran accordingly, saying that, look, Quran answers to our human questions. Now, as the text gave simple example of a seed and the roots of the plants, that they have their records in it. They nowadays, I think they call them DNA recordings there, demonstrates that the one who creates the universe and these particular beings already knows what he's going to create. That's why he inscribed in the form of a seed or a cell in the seed that demonstrates his knowledge. When we carefully examine the structure of any DNA, we can understand that the material substance of the DNA cannot record the knowledge, as our friend explained, the plan of a building. When we look at a plan of a building, we understand that an intelligent being has planned it. And according to the plan, the building is constructed out there, and we cannot say that, there is a really similarity, exact similarity between the plan and the building. So the plan has this source of existence of the constructed building out there physically. We all know that this plan, in order to become into a perfect functioning plan, it needs a conscious creator or maker. In this example, our friend gave, architect and human being, nothing to do with the paper, nothing to do with the signs there and calculations there. They are all in the mind of its architect. Now the Quran mentions this, everything is recorded in the book, clear book, which is Kitab Mubin. It means in the knowledge of its creator. He knows what he is doing. That is how we can understand that the universe must be created by someone who knows what he is doing. Yeah, that is fine. That is obvious. if the one who gave existence to this universe didn't know the universe, he wouldn't be able to create it, and the universe cannot come into existence by itself or accidentally in this perfect order. Look at the universe, how orderly it is existing, and also how orderly it is changing continuously, demonstrating that the one who gave existence to this universe is really changing it knowingly, aware of what he is doing, because the order is continuous, but at the same time change. That is an interesting point not to forget. But that is what the universe demonstrates, that its author has the knowledge. That is Imam Mubin. I mean, if somebody is interested in the Quranic terminology, Imam Mubin refers to this knowledge side of it. Whereas Kitab Mubin refers to what is written out there in creation. What is written there? The things are coming into existence in such a way that they demonstrate which kind of qualities their creator must have. Otherwise, the matter cannot organize itself in this perfect fashion, perfect model, and put them into connection with the rest of the whole universe and altogether perfectly, harmoniously existing and continuing their existence. But of course, they refer to the qualities of their creator, saying that our creator must be the one who has absolute qualities such as creator, knower, designer, wise, has an absolute free will to choose and make his plan accordingly. This is called Kitabun Mubin. It means obviously, clearly demonstrating the qualities of its creator. What? The universe. Now, Quran says, you wonder why you exist. Why does the universe exist? That's a good question, like legitimate question. That's why I created you to ask this question with the quality of asking it, understanding the importance of it. Meaninglessness makes human beings ridiculously insignificant, purposeless, and futile. No, nothing in my existence. I exist, I die, finish. Why do I exist? I don't know. That is how I am. What human beings say, no, there must be a purpose. There must be a meaning in my existence because I am a perfect being. Everything is perfect. That human being also is a conscious being. Our consciousness forces us to question, why do we exist here? So Quran says, look, when you look at the universe, you understand that the one who created it, I'm just wrapping up, the one who created it must know it before he created. So he must have absolute knowledge. And also, when you look at the universe, you should benefit from the existence of the universe in such a way that they should tell you which kind of qualities the creator of this universe must have, which I cannot really attribute it to matter, that he knows, he chooses, he decides, he is merciful, he is just, he is so wise, he knows everything, every particle in the world. should know everything so that it can adjust its existence, the position of its existence, according to the requirements of the rest of the universe, so that the whole universe must work perfectly. I cannot accept this idea. The matter should have these qualities. It's obvious that it is given, and every piece of the universe is the exhibition place of the qualities of its creator. So Quran says, pay attention to these aspects, to two different aspects that we mentioned, Imam Mubin, Kitab Mubin, side of creation, and you will understand your purpose of existence, who your creator is. And you will understand that your existence is meaningful, plus you will, if you attach your existence consciously, deliberately to the creator of the universe, you will feel that, okay, my owner, my creator is the absolute being. He is just introducing himself to me in this world. And I understood I'm not arrogant, self-sufficient, claiming self-sufficiency so that I will deny it. No, I have to accept it and make sense of my existence and enjoy my life in this temporary existence and expect his promise that he promised me in my existence that you need permanent satisfaction, and only I can give you permanent satisfaction, nothing else. The universe is also dependent on its creator. So you can trust me, and I will definitely satisfy your expectations as I created them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. There is a note, sorry, a comment in the chat box saying recording has two dimension, like two meaning as well, which author says they are recorded before they come into existence, and they are being recorded now as well. Right. If you'd like to elaborate as well, please go ahead. But thank you for your comment. I think I can add one thing. As I was reading, especially the beginning of the paragraph, when the author was kind of clarifying how all things together with all their states are recorded before they come into existence, and when they come into existence, and after they have departed and they are being recorded, I felt like, as a person, like answering my own question of why would it matter if things are recorded. I spent so much time just worrying about what am I doing here and why am I living life this particular way and what meaning does it have, and is this the best way to live this life, and what would it mean later, and should I be doing something else, or is it okay that I'm, doing what I'm currently doing? Like, I just spend so much time as a person trying to figure things out as they're happening. But when I'm reading this, it's very comforting to know that everything is recorded. Because a part of me was like, well, why should I care if the creator knows what he's doing before he's doing it? I mean, why should I care if he has a plan? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, the plan is about me, really. It's about my existence and how everything is already kind of laid out for me and organized. And me spending time worrying about
whether or not things have meaning, or what is the best thing to do right now, is, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know how to use a nice word here, but it's kind of useless. I guess what I wanted to say is, like, it's very comforting and secure to know that everything is recorded. I'm not so much concerned to how to prove that it is recorded, other than there was a I had a concern, and now it's actually being addressed. It's almost as if it's the author of the verses is saying, don't worry, I have everything planned out. Yeah. Anyone want to share their feelings or thoughts or reflections, especially how, after reading the interpretation, how do you feel about the verses? Okay, then I think we are ready to move on to the third point. For example, in order to ascend to the truth which the bringer of sure news described concerning the bearers of the throne, the angels appointed to the earth and the skies, and other sorts of angels, stating that they glorify God with 40,000 heads, and with the 40,000 tongues in each head, and in 40,000 ways with each tongue. Consider the following carefully. Through verses like, the seven heavens and the earth, and all within them, glorify and extol him. This is chapter 17, verse 44. It was we who made the hills declare in unison with him our praises. This is chapter 38, verse 18. And finally, we did indeed offer the trust to the heavens and the earth and the mountains. This is chapter 33, verse 72. So through verses like these, the all-glorious one expresses clearly that even the greatest and most universal of beings demonstrate that they glorify him in accordance with their universality and in a way appropriate to their vastness. And it appears to be thus. Just as the words of glorification of the heavens, which are an ocean glorifying God, are the suns, moons, and stars, so the words of praise of the earth, a flying thing praising and glorifying, are the animals, plants, and trees. That is to say, just as the trees and stars all perform particular forms of glorification, so does the earth and every part of the earth, and all the mountains and valleys, and the land and the sea, and the spheres of the firmament, and the constellations in the heavens, all perform universal forms of glorification. The earth, which possesses these thousands of heads containing thousands of tongues, certainly has an angel appointed to it, who translates and displays in the world of similitudes the flowers of glorification and fruits of praise it performs with each, and who represents and proclaims them in the world of spirits. Go ahead, Farah.
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry to take you back a little bit because I was reflecting on your own questions and thought on why does it matter that something is recorded, or why would you care if, or why would I care if, there's a being who says that it knows everything even before I come to witness, something in my life, like that knowledge existed before. Is that correct to restate some of the questions that you were reflecting on?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I was also thinking about the same thing, or like reflecting with you, and just wanted to share one way that I'm approaching it, and getting to more or less the same conclusion as you, that there is, so starting with the fact that, does it matter for me to know that something is recorded and has an exists in the knowledge of, somewhere other than my experience of it? In a way, we could argue that I need to know, or I need for things to be recorded. That is one approach to take at it, saying that, for example, when I look at a tree or a seed or a fruit, it represents certain qualities, such as its color, its shape, its organization, its design, the way that it is. Its seeds are, for example, placed in it, and different fruits have different ones. For me to, in that moment, similar to the questioning that Brother Ali was sharing, is like first asking myself that I do find myself with questions around why things are the way that they are. Why am I here the way that I'm here? What does, this life mean to me or represent to me? And we also bring those sort of questions to the experience around us. And so I need to know, why is it that this, apple is red and it has few seeds as opposed to a fig, which has this web of seeds? That knowledge could be in one form represented in, let's say, it's what we say as its DNA or its genetic structure. It is only like another way of its representing the same thing. But then there are other forms of experiencing a fruit, such as its taste, or how I will, I eat a fruit and I taste it to be a little bit different than someone next to me. And that knowledge is not necessarily represented, in some sort of codified physical form. Its color does not decide how sweet, for example, my experience of that fruit will be. And that knowledge exists somewhere. And as I'm going through my experiences of life, I need to know that there is a wisdom, let's say, a meaning behind the way things are, that I'm experiencing them. And so if there is a case where there is no meaning behind it, there is no purpose behind it, that would obviously put me in a state of confusion, frustration, not knowing how things are coming into being, or the way that they take on these certain qualities. And it certainly represents to me a life of just frustration, confusion, and despair. But to understand this in the context of that, whatever is represented in creation, which I think we are referring to the term the clear book, has a connection or a point, like a direction, what we call, let's say, signs, that it is pointing to, it having a source of that knowledge somewhere other than itself. And that source of knowledge is this the being or the source that knows all of creation and contains all that knowledge, whether I sort of observe it physically or I don't observe it physically, and that all of it is coming from the same source, combined together into one experience that is combined as a completely meaningful experience to me. And so with this sort of train of thought, I do ask that, yes, I do need things to be recorded in the sense that I need to have a way of connecting them to a source that represents, the decision, the will, the reason for why it came to be that certain way. And the second element of this is like, the fact that this recording exists also becomes a means for me to connect to the source of this experience or this existence, and for me to get to know, connect this experience of meaning to the rest of my life and to all other questions of my life. And so that to me becomes a life of, let's say, peace, which is in knowing why things are the way that they are, and that their existence has a purpose, has a meaning, has wisdom, has what we call mercy, like as in they are especially created for my adapted, or let's say fitting to my qualities and my needs. And that sort of connection between my need to understand why things exist the way that they are, and for me to be able to connect it in a manner that is logical, that is I experience it, through my observations, becomes an experience of peace or security and certainty. And so that's one way I was thinking that it matters for things to be recorded because I need it. For otherwise, it would be a very, I don't have any other word other than saying a frustrating and annoying sort of experience.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you so much for your reflection and taking us back to this important point. I see another hand up. I can't. Oh, Agabe, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. I was also thinking this why question, and then this word term caught my attention, the elevated truth. Because when you see, like, as Ali brother explained, the Kitab Mubin and Imam Mubin, it's like I felt it's like a stage, of course, which completes each other. Like from Kitab Mubin, we go to Imam Mubin, which is like science, investigate the Kitab Mubin, but eventually they must come to do this elevated truth, as Quran says, which is Imam Mubin. So then this elevated truth takes you to the necessary existence of the God. It's like a progress and like a stage by stage, and they complete each other also. That's what I also thought about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad we spent time reflecting on these questions. Let's see what we can do. So we have 3 minutes left. I don't I don't think we should discuss the third point unless someone has something to say before we close. I think we can
I mean, the following paragraph seems to be directly connected to the paragraph we studied, so we can conclude that it's not very long. So that
okay.
next week we can start fresh from the second, third, fourth point.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure. All right. So continuing on the third word, it says here, indeed, if numerous things take on the form of a collectivity, a collective personality comes into being. If such a collectivity fuses and becomes a unity, it will have a collective personality. And a sort of spirit which will represent it, and an appointed angel who will perform its duty of glorification. If such a collectivity fuses and becomes a unity, it will have a collective personality and a sort of spirit which will represent it, and an appointed angel who will perform its duty of glorification. As an example, consider the plane tree in front of my room here, a mighty word of the mouth of Barla, and the tongue of this mountain. See how many hundreds of tongues of smaller branches there are on the three heads of the three main branches of its trunk. Study carefully how many hundreds of words of well-ordered and balanced fruits it has, and how many hundreds of letters of well-proportioned winged seeds. Just as you hear and see how eloquently it praises and glorifies the all-glorious Maker, the owner of the command of be, and it is. So too the angel appointed to it represents its glorification with numerous tongues in the world of meaning. Wisdom necessitates that it is so. That is the end of the third point. Any thoughts or questions or reflections here? Go ahead, Brother Ad.
Very briefly, some vocabulary used here attracted my attention. For example, collective personality. Also, author is giving a very simple example. Look at the tree in front of your window. I mean, he lives in a place which is called Parla, so you can put it, say, wherever you live. You can say, I don't know, any city, wherever you live, or in front of your house. Look at there, and they have different elements in a tree. So starting from the root and the trunk and the branches and boughs and leaves, maybe depending on the season, depending on the kind of the tree, that fruit, and also seeds, their seeds. They are all together make one personality. This is a simple example. Of course, it is amazing to see that this simple example is really in front of our eyes, and we can benefit from it. You can extend this example universe-wide. You see that the whole universe is one unit. It's a collective personality. Every piece of the universe declaring the praise, it means how wonderful our Creator is, how perfect our Creator is, and glorifying Him, declaring that we can exist in this way only by the one who created the universe with this perfection, as I am experiencing here. So, as a result, he mentions about the angels is each piece of the universe is represented with an angel. And what does it mean? Really, we can simply understand that that when we look at the universe seriously, think about it with no biased mind, just say freely, everything has a specific representation of the manifestation of its qualities of its creator. But they act together and make it universe-wide, general. For example, in order to come into existence, anything needs to be created by an absolutely powerful, knowledgeable, etc. one. So this absolute means universe-wide, the same infinite quality demonstrates itself in every side of it. So we human beings, conscious human beings, should look at the universe in such a way that we can see these meanings, references, referring to the qualities of its creator. That is called, in the language of the Quran, it's a beautiful and very unique language, angelic side of the universe. So we have to see that every single thing has a perfect angelic side, unique to itself, and also all together, collectively, the universe says, I have my angelic side, universe-wide, universal and angelic side, and invites human consciousness or conscious human beings to reflect on it and make sense of their existence, human existence, for themselves, and not to stay in an ignorant position, so that I don't know why am I here? Why am I really struggling for a temporary satisfaction that at the end I will become a rotten things, compost, part of the earth, pointless. But when you see the angelic side of the universe, your life flourishes. You become really happy and be pleased with your existence, therefore pleased with the one who gave your existence to you as a gift with no payment, no cost at all. That is a beautiful way of understanding and making our existence for ourselves meaningful. Otherwise, the human feelings will suffer from meaninglessness. That is something that we cannot bear as human beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we can stop here. Inshallah, start from the 4th point next week. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك